Do you want to play a game about animals that hasn't been co-opted by the furry community yet? Escape from Life Inc. You don't have any legs, so we gave you some. Escape from Life Inc. is a quirky puzzle platformer with a capturing story. It features 3 playable animals who have all been captured and put into a mysterious lab. You can switch between them at any time. Throughout your adventure, you'll be doing puzzles, platforming, exploring, and much more. Together with plenty of wacky characters, help these 3 unlikely friends escape the alien lab. Play as 3 animals with unique personalities and abilities. Discover a crazy and comedic narrative with some dark twists. Meet a charming cast of talking animals. Join up with 2 buddies in local co-op. Experience 5 different chapters that each switch up the gameplay drastically. Enjoy tons of fun puzzles and platforming mechanics. Bounce on a fat pig's stomach. Don't worry, they're fine with it. It further goes on to say, I'm a 15-year-old solo developer from Sweden, and this is my passion project. I've been working on it for about 1.5 years. It's a very personal game with almost every tiny detail having its own little story to tell. I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed creating it. This game is actually fun. It was launched on Steam in May of 2020, and for a game that a 15-year-old kid from Sweden made, it's not half bad. The story as I have seen so far, you play as 3 animals, a fish that's been given legs, an eagle, and a reindeer. They were abducted by aliens and put on this ship, assumed to be part of some sort of guinea pig experiment. The fish, with legs, is sort of a young, understanding character. The eagle is super angry at most things, admittedly, as one would be in a situation like this, and the reindeer is super timid and scared all the time. The NPC characters are interesting and diverse, and even the aliens are pretty diverse. At the start of the story, you're sort of just going down one hall to the next, and then eventually you're taken to your cell, and then the team breaks out. After that, it's mostly going down one long hallway, hitting each story point. Get to the biodome, go talk to the frog. Where I left off, the story is sort of picking up, and it's time to escape with the help of the frog, and it's starting to sort of pick up more of a stealth motif. The controls are a little wonky, so obviously WASD to move. Use Q and E to swap back and forth between controlling one of the 3 animals, though the swapping is based on left to right and never in a constant order like fish, eagle, deer. So because of this, I always end up picking just one button to change. Then there's the single use for the mouse in the game. You left click to open doors and start talking to other people, and use the right click to use your antler smash. To interact with things on the map, you use your left click, but you're not putting your mouse over anything yet, so there's really no reason to have the mouse. I would rebound, interact, and open doors to E, like it is in a lot of games, and where it should be. I'm looking at you, Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Using space as interact and E to jump? Get out of here. Most of the puzzles are there to fit special needs that only one of them can do. The eagle can fly freely and is only stopped by falling water, and he has to go to ground after touching it, and also high wind currents caused by fans and turbines and whatnot. The deer has the ability to smash things, while the fish, with legs, can swim down and get things in the water. Because different skills are used in interesting ways, most of the puzzles follow the same use. The bird goes up to hit a switch, that'll drop a drawbridge, that'll allow the fish to cross a gap and climb up to get a second switch, and then the deer can use its antlers to pull a lever. Things like that. The puzzles make sense. There were some times in the game I was looking too hard into the game and trying to make a puzzle work when I should have just taken it at face value. It's all on par with any Stealth Boy or PB Winterbottom or Commander Keen or Explosion Man or Trine or any other 2.5D platformer puzzle game. So far as an hour into the game, it's fairly linear and not a lot of back and forth like Castlevania or Metroid. When writing this review, I noticed the additional info on the itch store page said that the game had controller support. Okay, that makes the gameplay a lot better. I highly recommend that you actually play with a controller that has shoulder buttons. This makes the whole shifting to characters that are right and left that you're currently controlling a bit more obvious. But there is a problem that I've come across when the lack of movement in the deer attacks. They have to stay in one spot. They don't slide to a stop or keep walking. They stop dead in their tracks, and it gets real annoying. The rest of the game has the characters sort of slide a little when they come to a stop, almost like inertia is keeping them from stopping from a sprint. But when they attack, it's not a pixel further, and this makes combat a chore. Since he's the only one who can attack that I'm aware of, And as I left it, I was getting to a trap elevator where thugs and goons were pouring into this elevator as it lowers. And since my team can only take 2 hits before restarting, the fight becomes incredibly difficult to try to fight these guards. As you make your way through the levels and start to pick up more skills and abilities, along with just naturally getting better, the first skill you pick up is a wall jump. I never thought I'd see a fish with legs wall jump, but then there I go assuming. It was interesting to see what each character does when wall jumping for the first time. I tried to do it with the eagle, and then I laughed, gave up, and then just flew to the top. There's almost no reason that they needed to learn this. The 2 moments of combat that happened, they're teaching 2 wildly different things. The first fight you have is with a frog, and it's a jump on its head fight, while the elevator trap that I mentioned earlier is just about whacking aliens with the deer's antlers. Its teaching is conflicting a little. The art is good. Everything in this game is clearly designed. You know exactly where you can and can't walk. Objects are clear in what they are and how you interact with them. Buttons are blue for stay on those, reds are locking buttons. Most crates are movable. If they're not, then you can just walk through them. For those of you who are rocking a 21:9 monitor, then you should keep this game at a 16:9 showing, because there are mission statuses that need to be read, and they get clipped off by the top and bottom of the screen. So just back off on the ultra wide setting. Anyone who's played a 2D platformer, this game follows all the basic rules of level design. Although there are a few times where the use of space could have been cleaned up, there are a few large unused areas, levels that are super zoom in and then followed up by levels that are super zoomed out, and I don't think there's any controls that can change that. There are a couple of fetch quests that start off not exactly telling you what you need to do next. Like the first thing that happens in the game, you need to run around the level and pick up these 3 things, and after testing all the buttons, you gather that it must be time to search the area for a few things, but then again, I could be just harping on nothing. It's hard to tell with small games like this. To wrap up this game, it's fun and interesting. It's a basic game that I'd probably recommend, maybe if it was on sale for $1. If you bought it for the bundle for racial justice, then you should definitely give this one a whirl. I like it. In the meantime, friends, do the things that every YouTuber tells you what to do and tell me what you guys thought of the game. Now that we're no longer using Potter houses, tell me if you're team Bob, Aaron, or Rick. Let me know in the comments. In the meantime, keep up the good fight, and oh no, the furries are here.